And good morning, everybody. Welcome. Hot Takes, Goodman and Hurdle. Good morning, Bruce. How are you?
I'm good, Eric. How about you today?
Good. We have a lot to get to. I'm going to tease it this way. Feel free to give a couple of quick comments before we move on. I talked to a CU Hall of Famer last night. I wanted to know his opinion about Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter not going into the Hall of Fame, but having their jerseys retired. And his immediate response was, "What the F? Are you kidding me? This soon? I can see them going in, but right away? Is this a joke?" This is one of the best CU football players of all time. And that was his visceral reaction.
The timing of it is easily the most egregious part of the equation. I would listen to the argument, certainly for 12. I would listen to the argument, but probably somewhere down the line. The timing makes this whole thing ridiculous. And that's not to demean or to even question the ability of either one of the players who have both been All-Americans. And look, I get it. But the timing of this thing is what makes it absolutely ridiculous. Not to mention the history of CU football. There were 5 players that have their numbers retired in over 100 years of history. This team, this franchise, this program did win a national championship. There's a lot of guys off of that team that around it that I would like to see some consideration given to in the proper time. So the timing is the thing that I have the biggest beef with. And I think the argument for Travis Hunter is much better than it is for Shedeur Sanders, but that's just me.
It's official if it wasn't official already. There is no way Rick George would have ever said this is a good idea. He has zero control over this program. Zero. Rick George understands the history of Colorado football. He was here for the national championship. There is no possible way he wanted this to happen. Deion got his son's number retired when he wanted it retired. And I'm not talking about Travis. Both should go into the Hall of Fame, the CU Hall of Fame. Travis Hunter, you can make the case his number should be retired. Shedeur Sanders' number should never, ever, 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 ever be retired under any circumstances. Quickly, you agree or disagree?
I don't know about under any circumstances ever, 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 ever. But the 2 years, hold on. The 2 years is, I have a problem with the 2 years. I have a problem with what the program accomplished in those 2 years. I think you can still make the argument that much more has been done in an ancillary fashion with CU football, the effect that it has on businesses, Boulder, the CU enrollment, and all of those things. And I would listen to that. Listen to that.
Not Shedeur.
I would listen. I would listen to that. But like I said, I would entertain a discussion about Travis Hunter, but not at this time. The timing of it is the thing that makes me say, "Come on, you can't be serious."
6 years from now, would you retire Shedeur Sanders' number? Deion Figures wore number 2. Deion Figures wore number 2.
Yeah, and I wasn't even here for Deion Figures, but when I think of number 2 at Colorado, I think of Deion Figures. So, I mean,
Shedeur Sanders was a great player for CU at the most important position. I get it. Shedeur Sanders did not make the city of Boulder wealthy. Deion Sanders did. Right. Not Shedeur Sanders. Deion Sanders did. Shedeur should go into the Ring of Fame. Shedeur should go into the Hall of Fame. Retiring a number is the upper echelon. His numbers were terrific. As this player said to me, it's a different game than it was when Darian Hagan played.
Mm-hmm.
No
question. Absolutely.
In the meantime, the best way to buy what you want at the price you want is at Roller Auction, the leader in Colorado auctions for over 45 years. On Thursday, April 13th, there's a pair of auctions featuring SUVs, trucks, work trucks, equipment, and more. The bidding is started at rollerauction.com. Don't forget to go to rollerauction.com to learn about upcoming auctions. Get what you want at the price you want today at Roller Auction. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
I'll just say one more thing about this because we're going to get to it, believe it or not, in the second segment. But this is just so top of mind to me as much as anything else, even over Josh Kroenke, because it feels like it happened 2 days ago compared to the news coming out about both of their numbers being retired. You are going to find out quickly, Bruce, when you listen to the media, who's in the tank for Deion Sanders and who's not. Any media member that supports this is completely in the tank, bought and sold for Deion Sanders. And Deion Sanders has done great things for this program.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like this that brings you back to earth. It's all about him. It's all about him. It's all about his son.
I think even the initial reaction from CU faithful was, at least from my thinking, was good because there was pushback. And I think a lot of it has to do with timing. I mean, I start thinking about Cordell Stewart and Michael Westbrook and Alfred Williams and Chad Brown and all of these guys, I mean, that are just some of the greatest players to ever play at CU. Our buddy Mike Pritchard. I mean, I think about guys that have blood, sweat, and tears in that program that helped it to its highest levels ever, and did it over a course of years in the program, and think to myself, what's wrong with this picture? I think it's pretty evident even to CU fans. And if you are just swept away by the recentism of it all and by the magic of Deion Sanders, well, okay, that's fine. That's your choice. But I think that most considerate fans realize the folly of this thing just from the standpoint of timing alone.
We have gone so far down this road already, we might as well just continue this segment.
Sure.
Because this was supposed to be our segment, a little bit later on. We'll get to Josh Kroenke, what he said about Calvin Booth and Michael Malone in just a minute. But yeah, the person that I talked to, when I talked to him late last night, I woke him up in bed.
Oh.
Now, hold on a second, though. It was 9:30 his time. So it's not like I called him at midnight.
Right.
The only person that I've seen publicly on X is Chad Brown. And Chad is a very measured guy.
Yep.
He is the one who brought up Deion figures. I'll tell you who might be the most outraged of anyone, of all the former Buffs, is Darian Hagan. And not because he played the same position as Shedeur Sanders. My understanding is one reason why he left CU is because not only did he feel personally disrespected, he felt Deion Sanders had no respect for the history of Colorado football. That angered him to no end. That, whether it's players learning the fight song to anything else that is the tradition of Colorado football, it's as if Deion looked at the history and said, no, it's the Deion Sanders football team, not the Colorado football team. And this just hammers that point home. And so you and I are in agreement. Yes, one day Travis Hunter's number should be retired. Mm-hmm. He is the greatest player in the history of the program. Only two guys have won the Heisman. So you only have two guys to choose from. And Travis Hunter is as special as it gets. But Daddy's son got another ride. And Daddy's son is going to be a first-round draft pick. And he should be a first-round draft pick. And he was a great quarterback in, Jackson State, a great quarterback at Colorado. He will go into the College Football Hall of Fame. But usually the pecking order is, in so many words, the last thing that happens for a player is their number is retired. Usually you have a Ring of Fame or a College Football Hall of Fame. There are usually steps to get there. Deion jumped the shark and moved this right to the front of the line.
You have to.
Bruce, maybe I sound like, the old get off my lawn guy. Eric, relax. You're an old guy, and the times have changed, and he was going to go in anyway. Now, and let me rephrase that: not go in anyway. Go in anyway means the Hall of Fame, the Ring of Fame. This is your number retired. Sorry, Shedeur, it's not number 2, but I can see it for Travis Hunter all day.
You use the term, and I'm not saying that you're using it yourself, that times have changed. Really, have they changed that much? Because isn't the process of respecting the history, the foundation of any program, any business, any enterprise that you enter into and become part of the history and the story of that program? You have to respect where the program has been and what it's meant. And I think that's I don't think that will ever go out of fashion. I don't think that you just come in with your traveling circus and say, okay, after 2 years, boom, we're retiring these 2 numbers. This is a program that had 4 numbers retired in over 100 years of football. 4. And we just upped it by 2 in the sweep of a broom. I mean, it's silly and it's unnecessary. This conversation could be entered upon 5 years from now with much less pushback right now than it already is being. Yeah.
Somebody's number being retired should be embraced.
Oh my goodness.
Celebrated.
Yes. Not argued.
Instead, Travis Hunter just got dragged through the mud by Deion Sanders. There's no question Travis Hunter's number should be retired. But because Deion wanted what Deion wanted, now it's going to be done, a couple weeks, whatever it is. This should be celebrated, not discussed like this, with disgust. So, Travis, for everything that Deion did for you, you're getting dragged through the mud today by no fault of your own. And Shedeur, you should go into the Ring of Fame at Colorado. You should go into the CU Hall of Fame. Number retired? Probably not. But those 2 steps on the ladder were completely ignored because Daddy wanted what Daddy wanted. And and I'll just say this as strongly as I can. Deion Sanders doesn't give a shit about tradition. He could care less because, as you and I've talked about, it's all about him and it's all about his family. And tradition be damned. And tradition is important in some ways. It really is. I'm a firm believer that tradition is the greatest obstacle to change. But in this case, nothing needed to be changed.
Eric, when you hurt the feelings of those who have come before you that have built the foundation on which you have thrived, in a program, that's a bad result. You brought up the point, and I want to reiterate it. This is something that should be celebrated, and it should be something that is unanimous. Unanimous. We shouldn't be arguing, debating, discussing the merits of something like this. It should be something or other that's automatic. You start talking about things like retiring numbers when you only have 4 of them in your program's history. That's the example that you have set. I can't fathom the willingness and the tone deafness of players that have come before these two that could be equally as deserving or more so, and not having any respect for their feelings or about things.
Well, hold on.
It bothers me.
Did you just say that Shedeur Sanders, deservedly so, should eventually have his number retired?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that discussion doesn't even need to happen. If you're going to have it happen, it needs to be down the road. Frankly, it needs to be down the road for Travis Hunter. I understand the immediate. I get the argument for Travis Hunter right now. I just don't want to have this discussion right now. When did Rasham Salam have his number retired? 2017? I mean, he won it, in 92, 93, whenever, I can't even remember the year. So you use the term a pecking order. There is a pecking order that should be followed. It really should. And it's called tradition. And look, and I do know this. I know that tradition is changing before our very eyes in college football. I understand that. I'm not stupid. I get it. There's a lot of things that have changed in college football over the last 4 or 5 years. This is something, whether it's at Alabama, Ohio State, Washington, Notre Dame, I don't care where it is, this much can't change. The tradition and the pecking order that tradition dictates has to be the guiding light for these programs moving forward.
This is how tone deaf it is, as I'm shaking my head. CU didn't even win the Big 12 this year.
No.
They didn't get to the college football playoff.
No.
Had they gotten to the college football playoff and made a run, maybe you can make an argument, but you still can't make an argument. There's nothing that will ever convince me that these two guys, in theory, left the program at the end of the season and now are getting ready to have their numbers retired. Well, I mean, I'll give Deion credit for one thing. At least Shiloh isn't part of the list. At least Shiloh's numbers are being retired. Good on you, Deion. Way to go. And, by the way, here's a shout out to Rick George, who made a great hire in Deion Sanders. You got no balls.
No question.
Hero. You bought any that played football and you were here for the national championship, you're toast, pal. Good hire. Great hire. Teams on national television every single game. Boulder's getting rich. The region's getting rich. People they're young kids applying to the school. That's all great. But I don't think there is a former CU player that will look you in the face and say, I have any respect for you. You could have stopped it, but you didn't. Right? Does Deion Sanders make that decision? Who makes that decision?
Well, I can't imagine Rick George made that decision. That's that much right. So,
I can't imagine Rick George couldn't have stood up and said this is wrong.
In fact, I can't imagine Rick George even having the idea, to be honest with you.
So whose decision is it? I don't think you know. I don't think I know. But I'm guessing Rick George has input.
Yeah.
He's a guardrail, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, unless Deion decided on his own and wrote the press release and sent it out to everyone, who does make that decision? I mean, I know for the Ring of Fame for the Broncos, I believe Jim Sacamano's part of that crew, and so is Dave Logan. I mean, is there a committee for this? You would think. Well, listen, for the CU football, for the CU Athletic Hall of Fame, there's got to be a committee, doesn't there? Doesn't there have to be a committee? Right?
I mean, you would think that's generally how it seems to be done traditionally in other places, but maybe it's a committee of one now. Who knows?
Yeah, it's a committee of one. He's done a lot of great things.
Sure has. And may do
But
even greater things. May do even greater, may even win a bowl game. May win a Big 12 championship. I would like to start there. And then we'll see where it goes down the road.
Shame on Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Seriously. Shame on you. You just pissed off a lot of buff players who supported you. And quite frankly, there are a bunch that don't, and they were great players too, because they're tired of the show. They love all of the other stuff that goes with it, but you really burned a big bridge here. No? Or am I wrong about that?
Oh, no. I think, yeah. The pushback hasn't surprised me at all. It was, I'm not easily surprised anymore, especially from Deion. I was surprised yesterday when I heard this. I was like, come on. Not really.
Here's a shout out to a guy, nice guy. Hey, Joel, are you going to get off your knees, Joel Klatt, and criticize Deion for this one? Hey, Joel, Mr. National Television guy, Deion's number one supporter. Hey, Jeremy Bloom, are you going to get off your knees and criticize this? Because if you don't, you're in the tank. And you know what? I shouldn't have brought Jeremy Bloom into this.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy has said he's one of the reasons why
I think he is. I think he's one of the big reasons why, quite frankly. So
well, then stand up for it. But this goes out to you, Joel, where you will defend Deion Sanders no matter what. What do you have to say now? Are you going to defend him? Are you going to defend Deion Sanders for making a decision which was unilateral to retire those numbers coming up soon? Joel, do you care more about the tradition of Colorado football or one guy? Let's go back to the last election. Is it party or is it country? I hate to get all political here. Is it party or is it country? Party is the Deion Sanders party. Country is the tradition of Colorado football. Joel, is it party or is it country? Is it tradition? Well,
Joel's he's a pretty smart dude. I mean, I'll just ask you the question. Have you heard one former player get behind this with any kind of energy and excitement? I haven't heard one, not one. So I think that's your answer. So,
well, hold on a second. Let me look this up. Let's see if Joel has said anything on social media as I wait to fire this up. So here is Joel's X feed, and let's see if something pops up. Let's see. Nothing. Not one thing was said on social media. I don't see anything. For all I know, he's out of the country. Maybe he didn't see it.
Yeah, who knows?
Right.
He'll say something about it at some point.
The last thing that I saw was posted 20 hours ago. So he hasn't said anything. I do know Chad Brown has said something. Other former CU players have said something. But the number one supporter, certainly nationally, is Joel Klatt. Silence. Are you telling me that he doesn't know about this by now? I'm sure somebody's texted him. Even if he is out of town. Because on Mars, that's different. If he's
they don't have texting there.
If he's in the rainforest of the Amazon, he probably doesn't know. But if he is in earshot of what's going on in the real world, he's silent for a reason. Because he knows it's wrong.
I will be very surprised if there's not. I think there already is very strong uniformity about this.
I want to hear that. I want to hear it out of Klatt's mouth.
All right.
That's who I want to hear. That's who I want to hear it from. Just like Joe Klatt and a whole bunch of others pushed John Embry to be the head coach and told Mike Bone, this is your guy. The CU alumni, they wanted their guy, John Embry. How did that work out?
Well, Deion Sanders Deion Sanders is the right guy at CU. I'm not even saying that. I'm not going to even wade into the John Embry discussion vis-a-vis Deion Sanders. This is one issue in this time and place. And it is, I think, it's something that is at the very least ill-timed. And at the very worst, it's some of the things that we've already talked about.
I want to see a public statement from Rick George approving this. Or better yet, I want to hear him lie. Say something, Rick. You're the athletic director. I want to hear something from the university president. I want to hear that Deion Sanders, we all know he's running the program. I just want it to become official. And he's done great things. Again, the old, do you believe, when he hadn't done anything. Deion always finds a way to step in it, to get criticized like this. Why are you doing this? You have so much equity in the bank, even from guys who've been critical like me. So why are you giving this to me to criticize you for, along with hundreds of thousands of other Buff fans?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious answer is he doesn't care about this in particular. I think Deion cares deeply about a lot of things, but about this in particular, it doesn't check the box of worry. It's not an issue for him.
By doing this, Bruce, he has shown he doesn't care about this program. He doesn't care about the tradition of the program. He cares about what's going on now. I get it. He's done a lot of amazing things. I sound like a broken record. He's done a lot of amazing things, but this. He always finds a way to give us an excuse to talk negatively about him. Rick, go on the record. Joel, go on the record. Board of Trustees, go on the record. Give us your blessing. That's what I want to hear. Or else we will know what we've already known. This is Deion Sanders' program. Coming up after the break, it is Josh Kroenke's program, so to speak. It is his team, the Denver Nuggets. And I got to tell you something. In all the years I've been covering sports, I have never, ever, ever heard a player, a coach, or an executive. I have never heard an owner be as forthright and as candid and as almost seemingly remorseful as I heard yesterday with Josh Kroenke. That's next.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a Ford Bronco Raptor or nearly $30,000 in cash the weekend of May 23rd. Get finalist entries from 10 a.m. until midnight during their daily cash drawings every 45 minutes or by redeeming player points. And all daily cash drawings that don't get picked are eligible for a second chance drawing on Wednesdays, and that can turn into extra cash. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corned bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver. Welcome back. Hot Takes Goodman and Hurdle. Bruce, Josh Kroenke met the media yesterday to talk about the firing of Malone and Booth. His candor, as we talked about going into break, refreshing, highly unusual for an owner or a player or an executive. This is what he said. I failed both Calvin and Malone as a leader because I let certain things slip to a place that they have never should have been. I needed to be better for the group, to be better as a person for the overall group. I apologize to both men. When is the last time you've heard anything even close to that coming from a high-level executive / owner?
Well, I've never heard anything like that. You started the press conference off by saying that directly, that neither one of them, Michael Malone or Calvin Booth, deserved what they got. He did take it upon himself. And that was refreshing. He talked about transparency, and he wanted to make sure that this was a very transparent narrative out there about what actually happened. He was very candid about when he was looking at making a move. He talked specifically about 2 different times during the season that he was looking at potentially making a move in the coaching staff. So it was a very interesting look behind the curtain that we rarely get. I thought his candor was refreshing. Now, I'm not sure what this would have looked like or if this would have even happened if they went 0-3 and were getting ready to play in the play-in round. I'm not alleging anything. I'm just wondering if it would have come off the same way. There is a certain amount of safety in the net that David Adelman has provided, and the trust that Josh Kroenke put in David Adelman and the rest of the staff. So that's a good position to be in. But regardless of that, and I'm not trying to be questioning or cynical on any level, it was a remarkable press conference, unlike anyone that I've ever been at. And I applaud Josh Kroenke for his candor, his forthrightness, and his willingness to take the hits. Yeah.
If the Penners are at the top of the food chain in terms of being owners in this town, we certainly know where Dick Monfort ranks. Where do Stan and Josh fit in there?
Well, they've provided championships for this city, and they've provided championships for these franchises. Both the Avs and the Nuggets have one, and they're the most recent.
And the Rapids.
And
the Rapids and the Mammoth.
Thank you.
Well, they're not major sports.
No, but you're right. But that's part of their legacy, and it's part of their present here. And Josh even pointed it out yesterday, lest we forget, that over in the Premier League, Arsenal is playing deep into, I mean, that's a very real thing. I know it may not be for people here in the States, but that is a huge thing in Europe. And it's just remarkable that he's able to kind of oversee all of these things. Although the irony of that is that is where I think that he feels like he has failed, using his own terms. He has failed the franchise a little bit. He has let things slip. He talked about it yesterday. When I'm not around, I'm not around. He used that term, in fact. And things had slipped without that watch enough that he felt like he had to make a decision, obviously against his better personal feelings, for 2 guys that he has a lot of respect and I think probably a lot of love for, Eric. I mean, if you watch Josh Kroenke last weekend talking to Vic Lombardi after the move was made, you could see the pain on his face. You could see how difficult it was. But sometimes you've got to make those decisions. And he made a decision, and right now it's worked out okay. But from a standpoint of candor, of accepting culpability, maybe unnecessarily, but as he said, ripping off the Band-Aid to alleviate pressure, he wanted all the pressure to be on him, not to be on players, coaches, etc., moving into the postseason.
Let's take a hard right turn here. The Rockies have placed Kris Bryant on the 10-day DL with lumbar degenerative disc disease. I say this metaphorically, certainly not literally. Is it time to put the horse down? Is it time to put your dog down? Is it time to just end it now? Degenerative disc disease. First of all, I didn't know that was even possible. But to me, that sounds like a long-term problem well beyond baseball. Just take it behind the barn and let it go with some sort of dignity.
I feel badly, and I say this seriously. I do feel badly for Kris Bryant. I do. Obviously, he's taken care of for the rest of his life, and that's fine. You know what? That's the economics of baseball. His value is determined by what someone will pay for him, so I don't have any problems with that whatsoever. You feel the need professionally for him to prove himself worthy of what the Rockies have paid him. I get all of that, but to your question and to your point, at some point, you've got to just cut your ties on this thing and move forward. It's, and I don't mean to say that Kris Bryant's a joke, because I don't mean that. But the way that this thing has continued to play out now over a course of years is becoming head shaking. And it's unfortunately emblematic to a large degree with what's wrong with the Colorado Rockies. What do they gain by holding on at this point? Eric, they're 3-12 or 3-13, whatever the record is after last night. They've got 2 more against the Dodgers. They're off to their worst start in history. I mean, at this point, what are you holding on to? What can Kris Bryant possibly bring to the table? Is he some form of veteran leadership, a mentor to some of these young players? Maybe I can buy that. But in terms of developing and what you're trying to do with a clear path moving forward, instead of the same crap over and over again, we're young. We've got injuries. Guys have got to come to, get it. We've got to come together. We've got to develop. I mean, that stuff is worn out. It's not tried and true for the Rockies. The Rockies haven't done anything along these lines. We're hearing the same thing now that we were 4 or 5 years ago, and how much progress is really being made. Yeah, you've got a younger core, but they're not producing it. It's great to have a young core, as long as the young core is showing something that you can produce with and build upon. Yes, you have finally, apparently, a top-line pitcher that you think 5 or 6 years from now can be a guy still being your leading edge on your starting pitching staff. One guy. I mean, yeah, I suppose Marquez and Sensatella, Freeland have been developed to a point, but come on. None of those guys are frontline number 1 guys in a rotation anywhere else in the big leagues. Marquez, a couple of years ago, maybe I would have listened to him, possibly, but the Rockies have done nothing to develop and to move this thing forward. So, yes, the long-winded finally, answer to your question is I've been saying this for almost 2 years now. There is no point in the Kris Bryant experiment anymore. There is no upside to it. He's not going to hit 50 home runs and have a WAR of 3.8 or 4.2. He's not going to win you games, period, let alone wins above replacement. So get over it and move forward.
I'm just counting this up. Since over the last 10, 12 years, I know Dollander has a chance to be really good.
He does.
But let's not give the Rockies too much credit.
Oh, no,
Here's
I'm
the
not.
reason why.
No.
Well, no, hold on a second. No, you haven't let me finish my point yet.
Okay, sorry.
I think over the last 10 to 12, 13 years, they've had 10 picks in the top 10. 10 picks in the top 10. And now we're celebrating Dollander. Whoopee! What happened to the other guys? The Rockies are the LA Clippers under Elgin Baylor. Always in the lottery, and they can't even squeeze $5 out of it. Maybe their $5 is Dollander. Maybe he's a big hitting ticket. But they've had top 10 picks. I don't know, 10 or 11, 12, 13 times over the last that many years. It's great that they have them. They finally hit on one. Whoopee! That's great.
Yeah, to your point, Eric. I mean, when you're talking about the last 10 years, those should be guys that are still producing in the big leagues, hopefully with the Rockies, or at least somewhere else around the big leagues. Maybe they went somewhere else and, whatever. But
here are your top 10 picks. Here are your top 10 picks.
This is going to hurt.
Dating back to 2012. David Dahl, John Gray, Kyle Freeland, Brendan Rodgers, Riley Pint, Zach Veen, Benny Montgomery, Gabriel Hughes. Now, this is more recent, these guys.
Yeah.
Chase Dollander and Charlie Condon. With that, you don't have to say anything. How about we'll see you tomorrow?
Yeah, I might need a whole day to kind of think on that one. Let it ferment for a minute.
You know what? I'm wondering if Dollander becomes great. I'm wondering if Dick Monfort will retire his number the day after Dollander announces his retirement.
I love your circular logic, my friend.
Or to take another shot, it wouldn't surprise me if Monfort retires Kris Bryant's number. Bruce, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, Eric. Have a good day.
See you, pal.